which is going to be asked by Claire McKinley, and that question will go to Mr. Bowman first.
A number of immigrants in Cincinnati with no criminal records other than immigration status issues have been picked up by the federal government in recent months. How do you feel about the detaining of these immigrants?
Well, what I'd say is that we need to focus on the citizens of Cincinnati first. That's what we need to focus on. And then also, let's take into account that this city council and this mayor have put out that we are a sanctuary city. But when we talk to the police officers and law enforcement, there's no clear directives on what that means. So actually, they're saying we're a sanctuary city on paper, but our law enforcement still cooperates with ICE. And so that's what we need to understand, is that where is the line drawn when it comes to city council? What are we directing our law enforcement and our public safety? What does that mean when it comes to a sanctuary city?
Mr. Pureval, question to you, and maybe answer that for us.
Yeah, he took a question about federal agents who are kidnapping people from the streets and turned it into a question about sanctuary city. Guys, whatever your political persuasion is, the mayor has to be interested in not just asking questions, but having an idea of what is actually happening. And if your residents are being taken by masked agents, you should have an opinion about that. You should have a plan on how you're going to address that. You shouldn't turn that question
What's the current plan of the city?
into
You're the one in office.
into an attack on sanctuary cities. So he seems to have a lot of questions about how the city is actually run and what the job of the mayor is. So let me educate him. Before this council came into office, the previous council and mayor labeled Cincinnati a sanctuary city, and we have not changed that. But it doesn't matter whether you are an undocumented immigrant or a naturalized citizen or a citizen born here. If you commit a violent crime, CPD is coming after you, and we're going to hold you accountable, and yes, we will deport you because you do not need to be here. Now, otherwise, there is no role for local law enforcement to enforce federal immigration law. None. Of course, Cincinnati police officers will show up to any public safety crisis. Of course, they're always going to maintain the safety of our community. And of course, if there is a federal judge with a warrant, we are going to execute on that. This is basic stuff, Cory. If you want to run the city, if you want to run the police department, you should know these things. You shouldn't be educated by your opponent on stage when you're just weeks away from the election. Take this seriously.
Mr. Bowman, I'll give you a minute to respond, and I'll also ask you again, I'll reiterate the question, how do you feel about what is happening to some of these immigrants in the city of Cincinnati?
Well, we can't lose the humanity of the citizens of Cincinnati and people that are affected by this. But I do agree with the mayor when he said that if there are criminals, that we should deport them. And that's where I will stand on that, is that from the law of the city, we need to focus on city laws and city processes. I think one of the biggest things that people are getting tired of when it comes to City Hall is that they're trying to copy and paste national politics into City Hall, but we're glorified custodians. You have the keys, you're supposed to make sure the streets are clean and safe and the potholes are filled and the money is spent properly, and that is not being done from City Hall right now.
So do you
30
support,
seconds, Mr. Pureval.
Do you
30.
support federal agents coming into the city and terrorizing our immigrant community? Are you concerned that truancy is up?
Like
because
what you
immigrant
said,
families
I support
do not,
what the law is.
If I could finish, are you concerned that students are not going to class because they're afraid that ICE is going to come to their school and take them away from their family? This is the same generation of kids that couldn't go to school because of the pandemic. Are you worried about victims of violent crime who are afraid of going to the authorities to hold people accountable because they're afraid of being deported?
Thank you, Mr.
That's
Pureval.
happening in the city right now.
We'll give Mr. Bowman an opportunity to respond. Mr. Bowman, 30 seconds on that, and then we're gonna give you an opportunity to respond, 30 seconds, and then we'll move on to our
No,
next.
I'll say what the mayor said, is that we need to uphold the law when it comes to coordinating with federal and when it comes to state, when it comes to county, and that's where I'll stand as mayor of Cincinnati.
So he has no answer, but he wants to be your mayor.
All right, thank you. Thank you both. All right, we'll move on to our next question here. Our next question will come from Mr. Carl Weiser, and it will go to Mr. Pureval first.
Mayor Pureval, how would you describe your relationship with the Trump administration at this time?
I am interested in working with everyone for the benefit of Cincinnati. I have strong disagreements with President Trump, strong disagreements on tariffs that are increasing prices across the board. Also, the high interest rates because of the weak global economy. I have disagreements with using federal dollars as a blackmail for people who disagree with his policies. There's a lot I disagree with President Trump and his administration. But irrespective of my own politics, what is most important to me is the best interest of the city. And so I will work with anyone at any level of government, of any political persuasion, in order to meet the needs of our citizens. In fact, after Senator Moreno called on me to resign and ran down the city for several weeks on Fox News, I met with him. And we are now working collaboratively with our business community to invest in our courthouse and bring it out of the Stone Age and invest in the IT infrastructure to make it more transparent so we can hold criminals more accountable. I've partnered with a Republican governor to bring State Highway Patrol into the city to support our local law enforcement to continue to prioritize public safety. Again, it's not just words, it's a record of working with people on both sides of the aisle in order to continue to push the city forward.
Mr. Weiser, your question for Mr. Bowman.
And the same question for you, if you're mayor, how would you see your relationship with the Trump administration?
Well, I would want to address that. He said that he wanted to work with people on every level, but you were at a public protest for No Kings shouting down President Trump, saying that he's a dictator.
Yeah,
and so,
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the thing is, though, is that when I talk to people on the streets, the national politics is on everybody's mind. But when it comes to City Hall, people are tired of it. They just want people to do their job when it comes to taking care of the citizens of Cincinnati. And so when it comes to working with these organizations, or when it comes to working with the county, the state, and federal, it's not just about tolerating them. It's not just about waiting until an election year and then getting forced to do your job the last year. You need to be able to be proactive in working with them from the very start, and that's what needs to happen. That's what will happen with me, is that I will be, in the first 100 days, we will be openly getting these relationships on both sides of the aisle. I don't care who's governor, I don't care who's president, I don't care who's vice president. You know, I care about him, but but as far as who's in the office right now, and let me say this as well, because let's just address the elephant in the room. My brother's JD Vance, okay? But the thing is that we're running this race for Cincinnati. And time again, people have tried to get me to bad talk my brother or to get me to be ashamed. I will never be ashamed of family. The man has gone from abject poverty to the Vice President of the United States in such a short amount of time. I'm not going to be ashamed of that. But the case is that we're running this race for the city of Cincinnati, and we're going to be doing the job for the citizens.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll move on.
Can I just make one point, Kevin?
30 seconds, sir.
Yeah, just to set the table. I couldn't work with the Trump administration my first year in office because he was not president. So,
well, you were only working with the Biden administration so you could get a position on his cabinet.
The Biden administration. The Biden administration.
You're the Brian Kelly of Cincinnati politics. You're using
Mr. Bowman, please. Mr. Bowman, allow him to answer, sir. Let's respect the rules, please. Okay. Let's respect the rules. Mr. Pureval, give him a few extra seconds. Mr. Pureval, please finish your.
Brian Kelly.
Give him all the time you want.
Brian Kelly's a deep cut. So again, you're confused. The Biden administration was in office my first year. We worked very effectively with them. In fact, we got the single largest federal grant in our country's history, $1.6 billion, to do the companion Brent Spence Bridge, which we are very proud of. And we will continue to work with the Trump administration where our values align and where it's in the best interest of the city. But let's just be clear about the fact that the Trump administration is making cuts across the board that's affecting the University of Cincinnati. It's affecting the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. The cuts to Medicaid are going to be profoundly impactful, particularly to our low-income residents in Cincinnati. And you should have an opinion about that if you want to be mayor.
All right. We're going to move on. That's going to have to be the last word on that subject. Mr. Bowman, this next question, we're going to get into some housing issues here. And